for those of you that don't know, the original six basically started from the fact that when I wrote the book, I wanted the proceeds to go to something that would matter. And many of you know I grew up in Bamberg, and we were a family of six. How are you, Kim? And so in that, what happened as we grew up in Bamberg is we always referred to our family as the original six, because before we got married, before we had kids, we always talked about what life was like as the original six. And that's where the foundation gets its name from. But a lot of why I do this is because growing up in that small town, Bamberg didn't have a lot. They didn't have the resources, they didn't have the funding, they didn't have the infrastructure, they didn't have the industry. But what they had was they had each other. And you saw neighbors helping neighbors. So when someone's house burned down, they didn't run to government and say, how can I fix it? Everybody in town, whether they knew that person or not, they came together to help that family. And so as we got into the administration, I saw that we were doing all of these things in government, but I saw that nobody was helping those towns where the original six grew up. Those small, great rural areas that had a lot of heart, a lot of passion, but nobody was helping them. And I'll give you an example. We are blessed to have our kids in public schools in Lexington. And they have iPads and they have smart boards and they have all of these things. But what I can tell you is, I went to go do an anti-bullying tour. I go to all these schools and talk about anti-bullying, and I went to Bamberg, which is my hometown. And they didn't even have a projector to show the video on. That's immoral. There's something very wrong when you've got good people that deserve better, that aren't getting it just because of where they live. So we started the Original Six Foundation, and we have this great board. And I said, what I want to do is go into the areas where no one else is going. Go into those areas where we've got good people that want a better life, that just need a helping hand. And so we've done that. We've gone into 6 counties. We've helped 4,500 people. And when we go into a county, the first thing we do is we meet with all of the leaders. The schools, the chambers, the pastors, anybody and everybody associated with the county. And we say, what do you want to do to lift your county up? And every county is completely different. Some of the counties we went in, they had serious drug abuse problems. So we started, and I know Pastor Jimmy Jones is here in the area. There was a residential care facility for those that have alcohol problems or drug abuse problems. We needed GEDs in certain areas, so we started GEDs. Some, they just had misspelled street signs. It was the most simple of things. But the goal with the Original Six is when you go into an area, how do we build it up to the point we can take a CEO and put a company there? That's the end goal, is jobs. The end goal is to how do we get a rural county so that we get jobs. So we go in there and we take doctors and dentists and eye doctors. We do pregnancy baby showers for first-time moms so that they have everything they need so that they can have healthy babies and a healthy life. We do resume building. We do GEDs. We make sure that we have a job fair so that people can get jobs. We go through and you will see the sweetest kids getting eye checkups for the first time. And there was a time we went to one of the counties, it was either Marion or Marlboro, and we walked in and I talked to this little girl and I said, hey sweet girl, how are you? And I looked at her mom and I said, we're so glad you're here. And she looked at her daughter and I realized she couldn't hear. And she was deaf. And so she looked at her daughter and said, I need you to speak for me. And so her daughter went and introduced her little brother. And she came in and the mother looked at her and she said, we need to get our eyes checked. And so I went and I showed her the line and she got in. And when she came back out, you know, I noticed that they were walking out. I wasn't going to say it. And the mom came over and hugged me and she cried. She cried because all she needed was to do well by her kids. That's what a mom wants. At the end of the day, we want to know we've done everything we can for our kids. And so what she did was she left out of there more empowered than when she started. The kids left out of there healthier than when they started. And that's what the Original Six is trying to do, is we're not going to wait on government to do it, so we're going through our own problems. But there's a lot that we in this room can do to help our neighbors. And so when you think of the Original Six, it's counties you never see, it's people you don't know, but it's South Carolinians.